Hi guys, this lesson is on dividing whole numbers by fractions. It's coming from the standard 6.ns.1.1. It's a very long standard, but the part that we're going to be working on today is working on computing quotients of fractions. It's going to be several lessons before we can complete the entire standard. So this is the first of many more to come. Just a reminder, you need to make sure that you copy all notes in pencil neatly in your composition notebook. So inside your composition notebook, I would like for you to go to the next available pages on the left side of your book. So if you're looking at the picture over here, this is the left side right over here. This is the left. I would like for you to go ahead and title it the way you see this picture titled, with video number and whatever video number was in your notes for today, and then dividing whole numbers by fractions. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on finding reciprocals. So go ahead and write this title on your paper and put a big box or a bubble around it like I did here. So before we can figure out how to find reciprocals, we need to understand what a reciprocal means. So here I've written the definition that I would like for you to copy. Remember, you're going to have to pause your video so that you have time to copy everything before I continue to talk. Reciprocal means any two numbers that have a product of 1. So, of course, I'm going to give you examples. So, for example, if I were to give you the number 1/2, its reciprocal would be, basically it's the flip of it. So instead of it being 1/2, it would be 2/1. So these two numbers are reciprocals of each other. Now the definition means any two numbers that have a product of 1. The word product means the answer to a multiplication problem. So if I were to divide these two fractions together, remember I would multiply my numerators. 1 times 2 gives me 2. I would multiply my denominators. 2 times 1 gives me 2. When your denominator and your numerator are both the same number, it equals 1. Whether it's 2/2 like this one is, or 7/7, 20/20, it would still equal 1. So you can see that these guys are reciprocals because if you were to multiply them, their product, their answer would be 1. So let me give you a few other examples that you are also copying down in your notes on what reciprocals are. So, if I were to give you the fraction 2/8, so you have 2/8, its reciprocal would be the exact flip of it. So instead of 2/8, it would be 8/2. That's it. You don't have to simplify it, nothing more. You really are truly just flipping over the numbers. So let's say you get, though, a whole number. So if you get the whole number 2, now remember, whole numbers can be written as fractions. So what you need to do with your whole number is put it over a denominator of 1. By putting it over a denominator of 1, we've turned the whole number 2 into a fraction, 2/1. So now to find its reciprocal, we're flipping it. So instead of the 2 being on top, the 2 is going to be on the bottom, and the 1 is going to be on the top. So 2 and 1/2 are reciprocals of each other, or 2 and 1, or 2/1, and 1/2 are reciprocals of each other. It really is that simple. I promise you there's no tricks that I'm not showing you on any of these, but I can give you a couple other examples so you can see that I really do mean the truth. So if your number is 5/7, its reciprocal would be, can you guess? 7/5. If you have 3/9, its reciprocal would be 9/3. And that really is it for reciprocals. Okay, so now I want us to switch to the right side of your composition notes. And I've given you a visual here. We're going to go ahead and title this part, not at the very top line, but the next one down, Divide Fractions, because now we're actually going to get into the main part of our lesson. In order to divide fractions, what we end up doing is we really end up multiplying by its reciprocal. So to divide a fraction, you have to multiply by its reciprocal. Go ahead and copy that down and pause your video if you need to. So we're going to go ahead and list the specific steps on how to divide fractions. So steps number 1, you're going to copy the original problem exactly the way that you see it. So you can see on the left side, I went ahead and just am working out an example right along with you guys. So for example, if we have 6 divided by 1/3, so step 1 was to copy that. Step 2, oops. And what I wanted to say is the second step is we're going to turn the whole number into a fraction. So on my example to the left, you see that it says 6. I'm simply going to recopy it so it says 6 over 1. And I'm writing everything else the same. Step 3, this is where we're going to keep it, change it, and flip it. So we're going to go ahead and fill in the K is for keep it. The C means change it. And the F means flip it. So what we're going to do here is the very first fraction that you see, we're going to keep it exactly the way that we see it. So I write my K underneath that. My division symbol, I'm going to change it, so that's why I'm writing a C for change, and we're going to change it to a multiplication symbol. And my second fraction, 1/3, we're going to flip it. So instead of it being 1 over 3, we want its reciprocal so that it says 3 over 1. So when I recopy my problem, which is my last step, it's going to say 6 over 1 times 3 over 1. And then finally, we're going to solve it and simplify if necessary. So on this problem here, we're going to multiply our numerators. Our numerators are 6 and 3, so 6 times 3 gives me 18. My denominators are 1 times 1, so you get 1. When I simplify 18 over 1, my final answer is 18. And that's all the steps that you need in order to solve fractions when dividing. All right, so we're going to go ahead and work through some more examples. The next example we're going to be doing is 2 divided by 3/5. So I would like for you to go ahead and write that down on your piece of paper. Now, according to our steps, the first thing I need to do is take my whole number, which is 2, and turn it into an improper fraction. So I want to make it look like a fraction. And that's simply done by putting it over a denominator of 1. And I'm going to recopy the remainder of my problem exactly as it was written directly above it. Now, I don't want to combine too many steps in one row because you tend to forget things. So now we're going to keep it, change it, and flip it. So we have our KCF. So we're going to keep our first fraction so it reads 2 over 1. We're going to change our division sign to a multiplication symbol. I'm using the multiplication dot on this one. And we're going to flip 3/5 so that it says 5/3. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and multiply our numerators. 2 times 5 gives us 10. Our denominators are 1 times 3. It gives us 3. Now you have to simplify. So when you're looking at 10/3, you're going to do 10 divided by 3. 3 goes into 10 3 times. So you're going to do your basic division here. 10 minus 9 gives you 1. That 1 is our leftover amount. It becomes our new numerator, and we keep the same denominator that we had right over here. So our answer ends up being 3 1/3. All right, so there's 2 more examples that I've written on this page. What I would like for you to do is to go ahead and pause your video, and I would like for you to work them out from beginning to end. Once you've worked them out, go ahead and push play so you can see what the solutions look like. Now remember, you could look back at your notes, which is like a few inches above where you're writing these, so you remember the steps that you have to complete these. All right, pause your video now. All right, so looking at the first example, you can see that what I did over in this area right over here is I went ahead and I wrote 10 over 1 divided by 5/6. Then I wrote my KCF. I did that right there. So then I went ahead and wrote my 10 over 1. I changed my division sign to a multiplication symbol, and I wrote 6 over 5. So I did the reciprocal of 5/6, so I flipped it. Now, what you see in red is I cross-simplified. Now, if you remember from last year how you can cross-simplify, basically it just keeps us from having to simplify at the end. If you did not cross-simplify, you would have ended up getting 60 over 5, but then when you do 60 divided by 5, you end up getting 12, so you get the same answer as well. I will be posting a separate video on only cross-simplifying for those of you that need to get a little refresher course on that part. So your answer for this problem is 12. All right, so for our last example, I've got my 2 divided by 5/8. So I'm going to write my 2 as 2 over 1. I'm going to continue I'm just going to go ahead and write my symbol all over again, my problem. Now this is the part where I keep it, I change it, and I flip it. So I've got my 2 over 1 times my 8 over 5. Now when I'm looking at this, there's nothing I can do to cross simplify because 2 and 5, if you're looking at them in this direction, this way, they have no numbers that they share, no common factors. And 8 and 1, you can't do anything with them either because every time you get a 1, 1 does nothing for you in multiplication and division. So now we're simply going to multiply our numerators. Oops, I get 16. Multiply our denominators, I get 5. So now I need to simplify 16 over 5. I end up getting 3 1/5. Okay, so I completely forgot to give you guys your textbooks to take home or your pages to take home. So this is what you need to complete. You can just do this right in your composition notebook or write them on a separate sheet of notebook paper. You're just simply going to copy the problem and answer them. So for questions 1 through 3, you're going to find the reciprocal of each number. For questions 4, 5, and 6, you're going to divide, but put your answers in simplest form. Now, be sure to show me your keep it, change it, flip it forms because I do need to see everything. All right, guys, that's it, and we'll see you back in class.